Hi everyone, Jess here, and today I'm joined with Mike Szücs, CEO of Cebu Pacific. Thank you so much for joining me today, Mike.
No, hi Jess, nice to be here.
How will technology support the expansion we're seeing in the region?
Well, I think, the technology is going to be a part of just improving the experience overall in terms of there's going to be a lot of passenger growth, and we've got to make that growth as efficient as possible. So I think technology is going to be underpinning to that in terms of all the customer experience aspects in the airport, how airlines interact with their consumers as well, and of course technology in terms of how you're going to engage with technology for your own benefits as an airline to improve your own efficiency, make your staff better, where they can service the customers better. So we're throwing lots at it. We're doing a lot of investment in various different forms of technology, whether it be on the customer end, on websites and apps. We've still got a lot of work to do on that. But also on the operational side, we've invested greatly in things like Slack, for example. All of our crew, all of our operational frontline people, we integrate through Slack on a channel to manage every single departure on the day, and it's something that we've worked on with Slack and is now very much a benchmark that others are looking to adopt as well. So look, looking at pretty much everything to sort of use technology to greater effect to make us better, serve our customers and deliver a better product, and also be more efficient, because we've got to try and be profitable as well at the same time.
Of course, and we'll touch on efficiency and profitability in a second, but what you were saying there's sometimes arguably too much technology out there. So how do you work on future-proofing and not just sort of going with every new iteration?
Well, just in this, here we are here at Aviation Asia Festival or whatever, and there's probably about 100 technology providers out there, and you wander the floor and they'll all come and say, oh, you look at this, and they all sound fantastic. None of us have got the bandwidth to do, a fraction of the amount of opportunities that are out there. So you've got to, first of all, understand which are the priorities in terms of can give you benefit, and then which ones that you're going to be able to actually implement to great effect. I think we've all airlines, and I think Cebu Pacific suffers from this as well. We all go through, we have a massive ambition to do stuff, and the danger is you've put too much onto your agenda and then you fail to deliver some of the important ones. So I think it is about being very focused and specific on what you want to prioritize on, because that gives you the best benefit soonest, and then also what you can actually handle in terms of your bandwidth. And sometimes there's some, I'm sure there's all these suppliers can do a wonderful job for me, but I've just got to put them in at the right place when we can do it. I was chatting to a supplier just yesterday, and I said, yeah, no, that would be great, but don't approach me till next year, because I just don't have any time. And I think that's really, you've got to go in a very disciplined way. Otherwise, you're just going to trip yourself up.
Absolutely. I guess that comes back to sort of efficiency and optimization, which is the order of the day in terms of maximizing profitability and passengers and revenue. And then, of course, the LCC model relies heavily on low fares and ancillaries. But we've seen questions recently arise in a few different occasions around fairness of these add-on charges. How can LCCs drive revenue growth without compromising passenger trust?
Well, I think the fairness question has come from Spain principally, right? Which and I think. I think the ruling is ridiculous. My own view is that it will get overturned, not just because I think it's illegal probably illegal under the EU sort of umbrella, but outside of that, let's just go back to the common sense of it all. An ancillary is an optional extra, right? So it's the idea is you want to make your service as low cost as possible, and that's particularly important as well in emerging markets like ourselves, where affordability is so critical. And you give the people the choice, what do they want to pay for on top? So it's an entirely logical approach to have ancillary as an add-on, as an option for people to adopt if they want to. They shouldn't be forced to take something just because which other people might need, because I will have to pay for that. Yeah. So if I don't want a bag, if I don't want to check in a bag, why should I have to pay more in my ticket? But then I can check in a bag if I want, but I don't want to. So why effectively should I not get a discounted price to? You might want to check in a bag, right? So why have I got to pay for you? I think the logic is entirely rational, and it means that what you can do is you can have a core product that is as affordable as possible. And look, I just don't get it. I think the situation in Spain, I think there's been much said about it. I think it's being challenged, and I think it will get overturned. And not just from the legal point of view, it's just not in the consumer's benefit, and particularly here in parts of the world where they're emerging markets and affordability is so key.
Absolutely, and it's really interesting to hear your take on that. And then we've already spoken about growth, so feel free to come back to this. But what are your priorities for 2025? What's your strategy?
So look, just to touch on the growth then that we've got for this year. I mean, if we go back first of all, what happened last year? Last year we finally were able to break through the capacity or the passenger numbers that we'd had in 2019. So last year was 24.5 million passengers. 2019 we were 22.5. So we had about 9% growth last year. We're the only carrier in local carriers in the Philippines that's been able to get back to its pre-COVID capacity and break through it. Now this year, January for example, we're growing over 30% on top of that. So January, we had 31% extra capacity. We had 33% increase in passengers. So our growth this year is now very strong. Now it will fluctuate between sort of maybe 24 to 28% for the remainder of the year in terms of growth profile. So on average, maybe 25% growth through this year. So that's a very strong growth position, and it's good, one, because the demand is there. The second one is because actually the competition is struggling to put its own additional capacity in, so we're making competitive inroads, dare I say it. So strategically, it's good as well. So very pleased that we've got this growth profile. We've worked very hard to do it. Last year we brought in 17 additional aircraft. Some of those were on relatively short-term leases because of issues with Pratt & Whitney in terms of the powdered metal issue. So we still have some aircraft, of 10 aircraft at the moment that are long-term AOG, and we have to manage our way through that. But all this extra capacity is giving us this lift, and the demand is good. But what's the challenge? The challenge is making sure we can deliver on that, because these supply chain issues, engines, manufacturers, they're still there, and we've got to make sure that we can deliver a reliable operation. So we're constantly monitoring the fleet in terms of its availability, in terms of what aircraft. We've got 7 deliveries coming in from Airbus this year. Are those going to come in on time? So we're constantly having to review our fleet outlook and adjusting the schedule accordingly. And if we do make adjustments, we want to make them far in the future rather than obviously making an adjustment which might be for next week, so that we minimize any passenger impact. So that's probably the biggest single challenge, is actually delivering the capacity growth that we've set ourselves up for.
Absolutely, and I'm sure breaking through that pre-COVID capacity level was a cause for a huge celebration. That's a really impressive landmark to reach this close after such an industry shifting.
Well, no, look, the Philippines and Southeast Asia was about the worst affected in the world, and the Philippines within Southeast Asia was about the worst. So it took a while to recover, but no, great to get through it.
Well, thank you for joining me today and sharing your insights, Mike.
No, thank you.